So I'm going to show you where the distance formula comes from and what it means. So let's say we have a point here and a point here, and we want to know the distance between those 2 points, okay? Now, we're going to call this point, you know what it is because you can see it on the graph, but pretend like you didn't know, some arbitrary point, x sub 1, comma, y sub 1. Now, those little ones are called subscripts, and they're just to say, hey, this is x in the first point and y in the first point. It's like giving a last name to that x. All right, because if you had like 2 people named Terry, you'd have to have a last name so that you'd know which Terry was which. Okay, now we're going to call the point or the coordinates for this point up here x sub 2, comma, y sub 2. Again, there's just subscripts, just to, yeah, you can't put x, y for both of them, then you won't know which one's which. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to think about this being a triangle. And not just a triangle, but a right triangle. And that's going to allow us to use the Pythagorean theorem. So what we want to know is we want to know this distance here, which is A, and we want to know this distance here, which would be B. Now to find that distance, A is going to equal x sub 2 minus x sub 1, okay? So, you know, it's like you're taking this x component and subtracting that one, and that would give you then that distance. B is going to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1. Okay, so now go to the Pythagorean theorem, which says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is going to be over here. That's the distance we're trying to find. And now for a, we're going to put in x sub 2 minus x sub 1 and square it. And for b, we're going to put in y sub 2 minus y sub 1 and square it. And then that would equal c squared. Now, we're trying to find c though, right? The distance between the 2 points. So take the square root of both sides. And so the distance, c, is going to equal the square root of x squared minus, or I'm sorry, x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared, I was thinking about squaring it, plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. And then you take the square root of the whole thing. Now you might be wondering, well, why, you know, I remember taking the square root of both sides and you had to put a plus or minus. Distance will always be positive, so that's why there's no plus or minus. This then is the distance formula right there. So if you want to find the distance between 2 points, if you know the coordinates for the 2 points, you can find the distance. And we'll show you how to use that in the next video.